back in the 80s, he's already very famous. Okay, he is the person that kind of like introduced to the world. We call it carb loading. Carb loading. So what is carb loading? Now he knows back in the 80s, he already knows that human body run on two systems. Okay, you can run on glucose, you can also run on fats. Okay, just like a car, the Volvo X90 nowadays, it comes in hybrid kind of a model. You can have a battery, you can pump in gas, right? So this is like your body also run that way. Okay, so Tim Nook chosen carbohydrate. Okay, so he done a lot of clinical trial study and proved that if you feed athlete with lots of carbs, then your performance would be much better. Okay, and he himself, right, is actually an epic runner, done a lot of marathon. Okay, now he also introduced to the world the things called sports drink. So sports drink, if it's invented, right, is this chap here, he invented the sport drinks. And then sport drink actually have done so much of damage. Who drinks fat drinks, right? Usually fat kids drink sport drink, okay? Ronaldo, trust me, don't drink sport drinks on. So he only act like he drinks sport drinks. So all the fat kids actually drink sport drink and think that drinking sport drink can make you slim down and also being very cool and sporty. So that's actually a Tim Nook. But what happened is this, from 20 years to his 58th of years of age, right, he been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. Okay, now this come as a shocker to Professor Tim Nook. He was like very, very upset, almost want to cry. Why? Because his father, being diagnosed with type 2 diabetes also at the same age, 58, okay? But because he's a medical doctor, he actually had to take care of his father for his, before his father passed away. The whole thing was actually about 10 years, okay? During which, right, his father actually had to chop off, amputated both legs. And also his father also suffered from stroke, whereby the last final 2 years, right, cannot speak, is only wheelchair bound, okay? So it's a very, very sad ordeal for Professor Tim Nook. But that actually make him a very, very epic runner and athlete, and he thinks that doing exercise, right, will make him healthy. But it turned out that he's actually a diabetic. So what can he do? He actually went in and also to check every literature, and then he realized that the low carb, healthy fats diet is the one that can actually help him to reverse that. So until today, he's actually really advocating for LCHF, low carb healthy fats diet. Okay, now on that, we know that if you exercise 2 liters, so I borrow this from my daughter Janice, so because it looks very cute. So this can actually track how many steps have you done in a day, and if you carry a handphone, it also tells you how many steps you've done in a day. If you're doing 1,000 steps and below, shame on you. Try to push it up to about 8,000 steps. So my brother Yun Feng actually have a very, very smart, so he bought this for my parents. Both of them actually wear this nowadays. And in the evening, you can see them keep walking here and there. So you ask them, what's wrong with you? They will say, oh, a few more steps to 8,000 steps. So this is one of the very powerful tools to track you. So 2 liters is no good. But all the very, slim and also fit people in the room, many of us, right, is too much. You exercise too much. Why? Because our heart, for Eunche asked me right now, right, he's pumping about 4 liters, 4 of this every minute. 4 liters every minute. Minute is just 60 seconds, so 4 liters every minute. But when you start to run, in the marathon, your heart, right, will actually go up to pumping 20 liters. It's 20 liters of blood, right? Your heart actually have to do that. So if the heart is about this big, so if you try to do it yourself, your heart, I mean, half an hour is okay. If you go beyond 1 hour, your heart is actually really moving so hard. Your heart will become hardening, and also the blood vessel become hardened. So too much of exercise is actually really bad. It can kill. So the best exercise is between 30 to 60 minutes and less than 5 km. You know, perhaps it's 3 to 5 days a week, and not every day 10 km. So too much, too little play a role. And I'm going to give you some tips before and after. Before and after. Now, if you are doing exercise to lose weight, gosh, don't wake up your insulin. Jangan bodoh-bodoh Milo, then you go exercise. You understand why now? Because if you do that, you are waking up your insulin. You are using the Milo punya energy. You will never lose an inch of your fat. So if you are losing, you exercise for the sake of losing weight, then you don't do that. And also after exercise, I will show you a bad example. Don't do this, you know, after 10 km run, you know, something that dahala, you know, plus lots of carbs. So this is actually not the best way to treat your body, because you exercise to burn fat, to stay healthy, yet immediately after exercise, your body is actually still burning lots of fat. If you can stay put for 1 or 2 hours longer, then it actually tends to burn a bit more fat. So this is actually what I want to share about active living. So you exercise to live, not to die. So that's what we call active living. Quickly, we move on to number 4. We call it more rest. Okay, now, for more rest, we know sleep. You need 6 to 8 hours a day. Okay, you also need quality sleep, quality. So when I talked to Ada just now, she can sleep very well. She can sleep very well. But some of us here are not very fortunate. Sometimes our quality are bad. We cannot sleep. So what do you do? So when that happens, right, there are many factors you should look into. But I'm going to point out something that affecting every one of us, I think including Uncle Pang. So I will say blue light. So be aware of blue light, because you know, the our sun is emitting UV, ultraviolet. So your eye cannot see UV, you can't see. But the UV, if it's actually on your skin for too long, it can actually cause skin cancer. So we all know this. The next powerful light that the sun is emitting is blue light. You know, so you can see that the sky is blue, the ocean is also blue. But towards the evening, when we are the furthest away from the sun, then you start to have orangey appear, you know, on the sky. So that's so romantic. So that's actually when the blue light is actually getting less and less. So the orange start to appear. So from there, you know that the blue light is very powerful. So imagine, you, apart from the sun that's so powerful can emit blue light, right? Our handphone are also pretty powerful, you know. It's like all this blue light is actually towards you. So if you want to improve your quality of sleep, and if you can't sleep, right, so think about the blue light. Maybe you should stop playing with your phone. Difficult, okay, well, but 4 hours before you go to bed. So if you plan to sleep at 12, so perhaps pukul 8, stop all the messenger, stop the live. Double. So 2 hours before, also double. Doesn't matter. 1 hour, at least charge your bloody phone at the living room. Don't bring your phone to your room. So be careful of the blue light. The other thing that we have just mentioned, your sun. Every morning when you wake up, go outdoor and say hello to the sun. Okay. So our body, you know, each one of us has 24 hours. So the first thing in the morning, right, if you let your brain register the sun with you, after 12 hours, your body sees sunset, right? So the body automatically, right, will tells you it's about time to go to sleep. So this is actually your circadian radiance, and its rhythm is very important for you to have this balance. So sunlight first thing in the morning. Now, all of us nowadays are overstressed. Okay, give you an example. Happened to me. This is what I do. So while I'm actually driving, I don't want to be late. So I usually have my Google Map on. So first thing, check. Okay. Next thing, when I drive, I don't want to waste my time. Okay. So I tend to call up my colleague William lah, to give a lot of instruction lah, get some feedback lah. So if you are on high speed, you cannot text and WhatsApp. So that's very dangerous. So you start to leave voice note. Okay, voice note. So I've been doing this so long. Okay, so I'm very productive. Every minute of my life are occupied with some things going on. So if you are so free, you're also never free. Okay, and I thought I'm actually very good already. So I've seen my friends. These are the champion. You know what they do? First of all, the Google Map is on. Okay, whatever I do, right, they are doing. Plus, they are live while driving. So live while driving. So talking to 2,000, 3,000 people while driving. Okay, and the third phone will ring will start to talk to their colleague. So they are people who are so multitasking. And this is actually what your brain actually have been gone through. So I would say all of us are not lazy. We are too productive. You are too busy. So look at if you have babies, young baby, or you have young kids at home, go on and observe when they sleep. When they sleep, they have smiley face one. You probably have never seen a baby sleep, or a long time you've never seen. You go ahead and have a look at the baby sleep or young kids sleep. They have smiley face one. So they are, normally if you look at the kids, if they're bored, they tend to look out of the window and they are mind wandering. It's like mind wandering and thinking and daydreaming. Okay, for us adults, we do it very, very less. So my wife Rachel, she told me this. So I asked her to observe my kids and also observe. I never been able to see my own self sleep. So I asked her to have a look. So she said, it's ugly. It's not pleasant. It's very scary. Okay, so from now onward, I cover myself with a towel because I don't want to give her bad dreams. So the mind wandering is something that, see, today, right, your brain actually going through a lot of information today. So if you let your mind wander, that's when your brain will start to kick up. Most of the things that I say are quite logical thing or a lot of nonsense and bullshit. So your brain will cut off most of it and also just keep a little bit that the brains want. So it's during the mind wandering period that you get things done. So for those people who need creativity, innovation, if all of us that actually stuck on certain works and tasks that you are trying to figure out some solution, if you go shopping, let your mind wander, go out, some sunlight exposure, relax, right? That's actually when you come up with the solution. So that's mind wandering. But mind wandering is for beginner. I have friends who are into meditation. So meditation is a complete opposite of mind wandering. Meditation is actually with a purpose. So you focus yourself at a point. I don't know how to do this. Maybe we can have this next section. So meditation, there are people who've been trained who can do meditation well. So look into mind wandering and later on advance yourself to meditation. Okay, so we have covered 4 strategies. Now, finally, we are going into the reason why Dr. Leslie is here. So number 5, we call it add probiotic. Okay, Eric. Now, every bird is someone that you can learn active living and more rest from. Very handsome chap. Okay, Martin Blazer is one of the really, for me and Dr. Leslie, we know Dr. Martin Blazer is a professor in medicine, and he is actually very good in all these antibiotics and also antibiotic effect on the friendly bacteria, C-section babies, punya problems and all this. And after today, I think we will probably remove his picture and just put Dr. Leslie picture here because we have a Malaysian expert here as well. Okay. Now, this is a question I want to throw to you. This morning, I know you woke up rather early. So when you examine yourself on the mirror, so I want to ask you, what do you see? What do you see? Hantu good. Belum makeup. Belum makeup. So what you have seen, right, is not human. Not human. So why? Because for human, the smallest unit for a human, right, we can call it cell. Cell. So your body consists of all the cell, little cell, your skin cell, your liver cell. So how many cells do we have in our human body? We have I don't know what is a trillion. So I find out 1 trillion is equivalent to 3 biji, tak cukup. 3 biji lagi, 6, tak cukup. 9, tak cukup. Lagi 3. So, so this is 1 trillion cell, but your human cell is 30 trillion. Okay. Now, what about microbes? That means all the bacteria, all the fungus, all the virus in your body. I hope you don't have COVID-19 on your body, but all this virus, everything combined together in your body, right? You have this. So those very good at mathematics, you realize, gosh, so this human cell only have 43%. So when you examine yourself on the mirror, basically, you are just a bag of bacteria. A human with a bag of so much of bacteria in your body together. So what happened here is this, right? This is planet Earth. Okay, so it started so long ago. I didn't know. It's 4.3 billion. 4.3 billion years ago, we have planet Earth. And then today, the last I checked, is 2021, almost 2022 already. So it's so long ago, 4.3 billion. Around the same period that we have planet Earth, then the microbes, bacteria microbes start to appear, same period of time. Human being human. Okay, come at about 2 million. So bacteria here first, baru ada manusia. Okay, if you put it on a scale, right? So this is the history of Earth so far. So 2021 is here. So bacteria is here. So human only comes in so little time, So all this period, memang microbes. So you're not surprised. Everywhere you sit now, your seat lah, your tangan lah, the toilet lah, something that you flush lah, or whatever you do, your keyboard lah, your phone, right, are filled with bacteria because they are here. They are the survivor and they are the master. Okay. The other things, right, it's very important for us to know. This is my best picture to date lah. So this is a baby, okay? A baby with 0 bacteria. So that means the pregnant mother with a baby, right, inside the womb, is like 0 bacteria for this baby. Now, this is Dr. Leslie's favorite, is vagina. This is the vagina. So what happened here is this one. If I'm the giant little baby, so this is the vagina, the channel that I actually have to go through. So imagine I pass through the vagina, my head is so big, So vagina is so small, So you actually have to squeeze yourself through. So it's actually putting a coating on the baby from head to toe, And in between, you can imagine, so your mouth, your nose, your mouth, your ear will get implanted with 1 or 2 bacteria. So don't ask me what bacteria is here, what sort of bacteria, how many types are. So this one you actually have to ask Dr. Leslie. But virtually from 0, and then it starts to grow. How does it grow? Now, this is everyone's favorite, breast. we call it breast milk. So the baby would have sucking the milk. Sucking the milk. So what is inside the breast milk? Of course, you have water. No coffee, just water. And then you have all the vitamins, your minerals, your protein, your fat. But very, very weird, very, very weird and very, very funny. Human breast milk have probiotic. What is actually even stranger, there are other prebiotic. So prebiotic is kind of fiber, soluble fiber, okay, present in the breast milk, not for the baby consumption. This fiber is 100% meant for the bacteria. Through the human evolution, right, the breast milk have special portion for the prebiotic. So if you think about it, it's very amazing, so amazing. The mother is feeding the baby is growing every day, 1 inch, 2 inch. So at the same time, right, the mother is also helping the baby to grow their bacteria. So when they get to adulthood, this is what you have, you have more microbes than your own cell, So this is actually what's happening in your body. So now, for the study and so far been proven is this: if you have a C-section baby compared to a natural birth, okay, C-section baby, I'm not saying all, but C-section baby on average, they are most likely to have an infection. Okay, they are most likely to have asthma. They are most likely to have allergy, like skin, gatal sini, and also they are most likely to be overweight, and they are most likely to be having diabetes, and they could be having some mental, development trouble like autism. I'm not saying that if you're a C-section baby, you sure got this. Just that compared to natural birth, this is actually what the C-section baby tends to have, higher risk. So the thing is, we know the probiotics are actually important. And what about some human, experiment? So okay, now, if you have an overweight lady and also a regular lady, so if you send their DNA, there's a DNA testing now you can send to Singapore, it costs you about 1,000 to 2,000 ringgit. So from the DNA test, right, it can tells you, the DNA tells you with 60% accuracy, it can tell and differentiate who is actually overweight, who is not, okay? But if you send your poo-poo to Dr. Leslie to check, he can determine your microbiome with 90%. Just looking, doesn't have to look at the picture, just looking at the stool, poo-poo, he can tell this is from overweight individual, okay? But I'm actually better than Dr. Leslie. I can just see, no need to do the poo-poo analysis, okay? But it's actually for experiment. Okay, now we can do from animal, okay? So what you can do with mice, right? With mice, you put them into bubble. So the bubble mice, little mice, they are germ-free. Langsung have no germ, just like baby are zero bacteria. Then you go through an experiment with you put on an overweight mice with germs. You implant into the baby mice, so you would have overweight mice in the outcome, right? What happens is from the experiment, they realized that these mice tends to be able to absorb more nutrients, and also these mice tends to be always hungry, and they always eat and overeat, So that's actually from this. If you put on the regular mice, so the mice actually end up also regular, not overweight. Okay. Now, what about on human subject, right? Same thing they actually observed from this experiment. So from this, right, the conclusion is quite simple. So if you are beautiful, if you are young, right, you can be a KOL. You can be a celebrity, but at the same time, right, sell your shit, so you can make money from this. So add probiotic, first of all, we know it is actually very important. Okay. The second thing is very important is this. Now, we realize there's a problem. There's a problem here. We are having 2 little species and 2 little number of bacteria. So it is this. You can imagine, you can compare this. We compare to those hunter-gatherers. So on Earth now, planet Earth, there are still orang asli, not Malaysian orang asli. Malaysian orang asli ada handphone. But orang asli in Africa, deep inside the forest and jungle, you can still find them. If you analyze their stool compared to Malaysian punya stool, right? If you compare, you realize that they tend to have more variety of choices, more, and then more number in total. But for us in the city, right, we have much less in totality. Also, you can think of it this way, rainforest. If you go into a jungle, rainforest, right, you see trees, birds singing, everywhere. You see very beautiful. But if you spend some money, you go to Ampang punya Zoo Negara, you walk in, the tiger are very skinny. The tree, tak ada, it looks very sad, everything. So that's actually what happened in this. So the people who are hunter-gatherer with a very beautiful pupu, seldom they will have diabetes, seldom they have high blood pressure, and they do not know what is actually cancer, okay, in their population. So this could be related to the the microbes that we are having. Now, you will probably say that you are from natural birth, okay? Then you shouldn't have so much of this microbial imbalance. But then don't forget, if you probably have antibiotic throughout your life. You might have a few courses of antibiotic, but you'll probably say that you never take antibiotic, okay? What will still affect you, right, is this, all the chickens, or the mutton, the beef, whatever that you eat, right? People now, they rear the animals and the farm, you definitely need to put in antibiotic, okay? If you don't put in, the antibiotics not for the animal to prevent them from getting COVID or selesema, no. It's actually, we know that if you put in antibiotic into the animals tend to grow and eat like crazy. So they grow and become big very, very fast. So they put in the antibiotic. Unfortunately, all these antibiotics, right, in the chicken or in whatever that you're eating, right, it will be transferred into your body and you kill off a lot of your friendly bacteria. So your volume is little, your species is getting less, right? So what can you do with all this, right, is you must add back. So to add back, right, you can take more vegetables, or increase your fiber, and also increase your variety by taking fermented food. Now, all the fermented food, right, generally speaking, commonly, you can ask Pon Sareha and so and ask me, you ferment even tempeh, it can be very smelly, So it is not pleasant. All fermented food usually not pleasant. To make it taste good, right, masuklah gula kan. So you make it taste good. So you put in a lot of sugar. So if you are choosing any yogurt drinks or kimchi, natto, right, make sure they are not added with sugar. So that's actually the advice from this strategy. Now, moving on is number 6. We call it the future medicine. So who do we have here? This is Prof. Stephen Finney, again a medical doctor, a professor. Just like Dr. Nash, they teach medical doctor. Okay. Now, Dr. Stephen Finney, a professor, he's a rival to Professor Tim Noak. Remember the guys that kena diabetes at 58? So both of them in the 80s, right, realized that human run on hybrid. It's glucose and the fats. Okay. Now, the Tim Noak are very famous because a lot of industry companies sponsor him for the sport drinks and marathon run, so he's the top shot. But Stephen Finney have chosen the path of facts. All right, so he's quiet, doing his work. Now, when Tim Noak kena diabetes, right? So he went to Stephen Finney to read all his study, and then it's from his study that he got inspired and changed his diet. So these two rivals nowadays becomes very good friends, promoting on the low carb correct diet to reverse diabetes. So Stephen Finney and his group of professor, doctor, medical doctor, pharmacist, dietitian, they are running clinics and clinical trial on reversing diabetes, helping on cancer, and also dementia and joint gout problems. So these are their area of specialty. The other doctor I want to introduce is actually Dr. David Anwin. He is actually an ordinary GP, just a GP, in a small town in UK. All right, he had been into practice for 25 years as a GP. Not rewarding, very sad, a sad old man. Why? Because as a doctor, there's nothing much he can do for his patient. Patient comes in with one medication, say diabetes, right? And then after next year, the year after, then second medication, the third, the fourth, right? Ultimately, they die. So he's thinking that for 25 years of practice, right? Nothing much. So people coming with diabetes, he already knows that there's nothing much he can do, but the system is providing him with a very good reward, with money. He survived, but he decided to retire, retire early. And it is actually 1 month before his planned retirement, right? Something happened. In 1 week, first patient comes in, and then he had been cured, cured of diabetes, reverse, diabetic being reversed, and he couldn't recognize the patient, lost so much weight, and then that was a miracle, that was a miracle. He said this is one of the outliers. Before he retired, he finally see one patient reversed from diabetic. Now, after a few days, right, second patient walk in, also have reversed the diabetic, right? So this time, it's not chance, it's not by chance. Something is going on in all these patients. So he start to sneak in. He realized that they joined a Facebook group on this low carb and also how to reverse the disease with intermittent fasting. And then from there, he learned and make friends with all these people. And Dr. David Anwin, actually from there, he done a lot of work. By now, he have actually influenced more than millions of patients through his network and also his friends and doctors and pharmacists and dietitians and nurses. So he has been awarded many famous awards. He's now a KOL, but KOL at this age as a doctor who have reversed diabetes. Now, my favorite, keep it last, is Dr. Peter Attia, medical doctor. He's a medical doctor and is a surgeon. He's a surgeon, but this surgeon is the xiao surgeon, a bit crazy one. So I would say this is how I look at him. Now, Steve Jobs is the man for IT and also your gadget, your phone. Now, he is a man in this medical field. Those people who think differently, this is the guy, okay? So he is happily doing his surgery work in US, and then he put on weight so much, right? He's borderline diabetic, okay? Despite he exercised a lot, marathon again, he swim a lot. So he decided to, he doesn't want to rely on medication. Okay, he want to do something about it. He start to eat by the pyramid. You do everything by the book, and it turned out to be worse off, not better, it's worse off. So he took this picture because he eat by my plate, so it's more round, not pyramid. So he eat by my plate, and then he's wondering whether something is wrong with him. So on that, he done all the research. He came to Professor Stephen Finney, and then he start to, first thing he did, right, is this, just cut sugar. First thing he did, cut sugar. But when you are dealing with crazy people, a bit cuckoo one, when they say cut sugar, it's not just McDonald's, no Coca-Cola, it's not just that. So he cut completely all the obvious sugar from Coca-Cola, from all the Milo, all the drinks that you can think of. Second thing is, right, he still eat pasta. That's carbohydrate. So pasta you need to cook with tomato sauce. So he actually went through all the tomato sauce that you can think of, right? Semua pun ada sugar. All tomato sauce pun ada sugar. So he actually had to make his own tomato paste, right? So he's doing cutting sugar. He lost 8 kg within a few months. So from there, he go lagi crazy. So he went into the strict ketogenic diet for many years. For many years, he was like very happy. And he tends to share this. During that peak days of him, he also exercised a lot. Every morning after shower, he will stand in front of the mirror to check his own abs. The six-pack is cantik and the glutes are beautiful. So he's doing that. And until one day, his daughter is about 6 years old, having a birthday. So the daughter present a cake to the father and asked him that, for years, he never seen his father eat a piece of cake, So, but this cake means a lot to the daughter, the 6 years old. So the daughter is begging the father, just take one piece of her favorite cake, So Peter Attia have no choice. So he eat that piece of cake and then he started to cry, he cried, very emotional. So he realized, right, something is not right. Something is not right. This kind of diet, this kind of lifestyle, right, probably is not sustainable. It doesn't make sense, And he also setting a very bad example to the daughter. Imagine the daughter is thinking that father only likes six-pack, So this is very damaging. So he started to venture, as I said, Steve Jobs, start to think. So when he start to think, right, he think this. Crazy people thinking, so needs this kind of logic. Health. What is health, He asked, what is health? Why everyone say they want to be healthy? Why Uncle Pang say he want to be healthy? Why? He realized it's because of one thing, Because you want longevity, You want to live, Why everyone is wearing mask and I don't have to wear a mask? Sorry. So why everyone is wearing mask, right? Because you don't want COVID. Because you want to live, So that's called longevity. That means to live. So longevity for human being come with the expiry date, So he set 100th year of age. Is this enough? He said that's not enough, You must come together with a thing called not KOL, it's QOL. Not key opinion leader. This is quality of life. Now, what is quality of life? Think about it. Okay, now, the late Stanley Ho. Anyone know Stanley Ho? He lived to 98. Passed away in May 2020. May 2020. Okay, so who is Stanley Ho? He's actually lived a very colorful life. He actually had 4 wives. So 4 wives, I think it was halal, no, still halal. But he's actually the king of gambling. Itu haram now. King of gambling, a billionaire. It's during one night in 2009, one night at the fourth wife, isteri keempat punya place, he fell down. Since then, right, he had been in and out of hospital for 11 years. 11 years. So estimated all the gossip I read, he spent more than $200 million just to keep himself survive, So, and he died at 98 years old. So from here, right, you realize, I think Peter Attia could be right, Longevity means nothing. If you have no quality of life, it means nothing to you. So again, when you're dealing with Xiao Lang, Xiao Wan, he will start to ask, then what is quality of life? Habis, dealing with these people, you will go crazy. So what is quality of life? So you say, okay, now, quality of life is this. To him, this is how he writes. So everyone have a different version. For him, he said, funny, first thing, tie your shoe. Oh, at 100 years old, if you're 100, if you live to 100, at 100, you must be able to tie your shoe. Oh, I think it makes sense. You don't want others to help you to tie your shoe, and so you want to tie your own shoe. Trust me, it's not easy. Just now when I squat down, I actually exert some. It's not easy to tie your shoe. Number two, he wants to be able to carry 2 times 10 kg bag. So 2 times 10 kg bag means doing grocery by himself. He can carry 2 bags, 10 kg each. Oh, sugar and rice. No lah, vegetables and fish. So want to be able to carry 2 bags. Okay. Number 3, this one is funny. He say lift 15 kg. He say, what the heck is this lift 15 kg? Okay, basically he still want to go travel. Okay, dia pakai AirAsia and service tak bagus. So you want to lift 15 kg to put your luggage to your overhead compartment. So that's like 15 kg. Okay. Now number 4 is simple. Sit and then stand. Sit and stand without assistance. So that means sit, difficult. Stand without assistance. Why? Because you want to play with your great-grandkids. So you must be able to do that. You don't need anyone to help because not cool. So you're playing with young kids. Now, number 5, take me a while to understand, is again carry 15 kg. Okay. This time carry 15 kg is this. He must be able to dip down and squat. Because the great-grandkids, children could be running towards him. He's able to balance himself and carry him up. This is the joy in his life. He wants to have this. So carry 15 kg. With all this, right, he start to reverse engineer because he wants this. So reverse engineer, he's now in his 50. So what he must do is this. Number 1, to load his muscle to maximum muscle. Max. Joint minimum. So what does it mean? Because those days when he's young, he's all about macho. All right. So he can do a deadlift 200 or 300 kilogram. It doesn't make sense. You don't need this strength because you only want to do this when you're 100. So muscle max, joint minimum. The other thing is very smart. He said delay onset of diseases by 20 to 30 years. Now, he realized everyone will die one day. I can assure everyone here, all of us will die one day. Okay, but it is like Uncle Ben. For Uncle Ben, if he kena diabetes at 40, he can probably live to 60. Okay, but if you can imagine for Dr. Peter Attia, what he want to do now is this. He want to delay the onset of disease like cancer or diabetes or dementia, right, as much as possible until he's probably into his 80s. All right, if he kena cancer by 80s or diabetes by 80s, at least he can live to 100. So this is actually his formula. Okay, now this is Peter Attia's way of looking at health and longevity. Okay, now with all this, right, here comes the future of medicine. Future of medicine, right, is this, right? Each one of these people here, right, are people who have suffered the disease by themselves. Okay, they are not just doctor, professor, pharmacist, nurses, or dietitian, but they themselves kena the disease, or their loved one kena the disease. They use the conventional pyramid method, or all the right things that they think is correct by the textbook guideline. They do that, but it doesn't work. Then they actually have to reverse it by using the thing is actually the right approach. Now, I hope that after today, we have more people to understand this is actually backed with science. These are not carrot juice to drink for everyday carrot juice, 3 liters, and then you can live to 100 years old. It's not that. These people, right, they are smart. If they are not smart, right, they are smarter than us. All right, these people are professional. And after today, I hope we can see Dr. Leslie or Dr. Nash picture here as well. And for Malaysia, we hope that we can gather a bit more. So for Jing Pei, it's actually a dietitian. We have Selfen, who's actually a pharmacist from Institute Cancer Negara. And so many of us here, Dr. Leslie, Dr. Nash, and we have Mr. Pang, Uncle Pang here, who have been through, the really, really tough disease that. So all of us here can be a practitioner. And all these people together, right, they are the future of medicine. So when they treat the patient, right, they know what is the way that you can reverse and not just treating by just medication alone. So this is future of medicine. Now for 7, we call that East plus the West. Okay. Now the 8 is the advanced technology. We will keep this for the next event. Now we are almost to the most important things for today. Now, with all those 8 strategies that we just shared, right, we have to distill it down to something very easy to follow. Okay. Now we call that the 6th step. So number 1, right, is actually know yourself. I think this is very important. Know yourself. So you've been through today, you know your body composition, you know your body fat, you know your cholesterol level. You must know yourself, okay? Knowing yourself, right, and also you know the way that can make yourself healthy, okay? So that we call it know yourself, common sense. Number 2, right, knowing is not enough. You must start to do some action. So the action, first thing, what Peter Attia do, I think it makes sense, is cut sugar. Sugar, there are 2 types. One is actually the obvious. So obvious thing, can your soft drink, our favorite bubble tea, there's lots of sugar. And then you have food product, read the label, sugar. So these are the obvious. But there's something that I call it the not so obvious. For the not so obvious, right, you must know this. Could be one of Dr. Nash's favorite. It's a glycemic index. So it should be low glycemic index. I'm not to the skill set of Dr. Nash. I have never been able to explain glycemic index to everyone to understand. Until today, I feel, So we borrow from Dr. Anwin. Now, Dr. Anwin, he always say that he's a very simple GP. Simple means not very smart GP. He said the low GI thing he had been trying to explain to his patient, it doesn't work. So finally, he decided to do this. It's been validated. It's called teaspoon equivalent. Teaspoon equivalent. So this is how he put it, right? For rice, 10 teaspoons. Faham kan? 10 teaspoons of sugar. Now, on the list, right, you can see the good things are broccoli. Almost no teaspoon sugar equivalent. Telur pun tak ada. Tak akan you just live by these 2 kan. So he said, jangan risau, adik. You can still have like chicken, your oily fish, almonds, mushroom, cheese and meat, da-da-da. So plenty of choices, but be careful of the not so obvious. Okay. Now, next is our favorite question. Gardenia mau putih ke atau itu wholemeal? Kan mahal sikit tak apa. So pasta, the expensive or the cheap one. Okay. So you realize my friends used to tell me if you want to go, you go for geng gao gao, because at the end of the day it's about the same, It's about the same. But if you go for green, anything that's green, green vegetables leaf are very low. So it's not about white or brown. No, it's not white or brown, it's green. So go for green. Okay. I actually have a chance to talk to Ada. She eats lots of vegetables. So I think that's actually her trick. No? So she looks like a 20 because she eats a lot of vegetables. Next. Now, Malaysian love roti. And then some of us are having more budget. We like to buy expensive exotic bread. Again. So shocking, to Dr. Anwin, he's so shocked to realize the whole grain actually give him the most teaspoon of sugar equivalent. So this is a shocker. And then the also so-called healthy diet, oatmeal, also not too bad. Also come with sugar. It's not sugar-free. Now, every country, every place that you go, there is this thing called diabetic association. You have one in UK, you have one in Australia, you have one in US, there's one in Malaysia as well. So if you follow by the diabetic guideline, diabetic association, they will say this is a very healthy breakfast. You have cornflake, you have milk, you have brown toast, one slice only, one slice of brown toast, no kaya, no jam, no nothing, and pure apple juice. Okay, this together, this is 16.3 of the teaspoon of sugar in this so-called healthy breakfast. If you are at the medical center after a surgery, right, they will probably serve you this, It can be porridge, can be anything, but it's 16.3 teaspoon of sugar equivalents in your diet. So this is what we call obvious and not so obvious here. So be careful of that. Number 3 is eat less frequent. Eat less frequent. Okay, coming back to Uncle Ben. Uncle Ben, what Uncle Ben should be doing, instead of like one, 2 pieces of roti, just eat one, or 1 piece of roti, just eat half, very suffering. What he should be doing, right, is cut this. Cut this, right? When you cut this, right, we call it from 6 meal. From 6 meal a day, you go to 3 meals a day, just 3 meals a day. Now, if you want to advance yourself a little bit, right, you can do this. Your dinner, right, your last meal of the day is 8. And then you have your breakfast at 8. So you can imagine you have 12 hours of fasting, 12 hours without food. So this is what we call, you will hear this term 12-12. So 12-12 means 12 hours of fasting, and then you have your 3 meal or 1 meal, whatever, within that period of time. So it's 12 hours of fasting and 12 hours of your meal. Now, moving on, right, is what Ada is practicing. I'm practicing, my brother is practicing. Many of you here will probably come across the very famous one, 16-8. Now, 16-8 is very easy to do if you you skip your breakfast. If you skip your breakfast, right, so instead of 8 a.m., you push yourself to 12 noon. Then, within 12 noon to 8, you can finish your lunch and also your dinner, right? We call that 16-8. Some of you here are xiao one, I know. So you do 24. So when you are doing 24, right, you are almost into a thing called all mat. Not oh my god, it's all mat. It's called 1 meal a day. You virtually are just eating 1 meal a day. But what you do is like, instead of you makan like crazy, when you break fast, puasa, and then when you break fast, wall up everything. If you eat too fast, you tend to overeat, So it's a counterproductive thing. So you should eat very slowly. Like Jeff, elegantly, drink some water, kuma a little bit. You do it slowly over a period of 1, 2, or even 4 hours. So that's a healthy 1 meal a day. Okay, now advancing, right, to this thing called we call it 48. Then 72. And then last but not least is 7D. Now, 48, 72 are a bit crazy people do. It's like 3 days without food. 7D is not 4 ekor. It's like the 7 days without food. 7 days fasting, just water. This is 7D. Now, why people do this and this is actually for some reason. Okay, they could be severe diabetic patient, very severely obese, or they could be going through some chemo or cancer treatment under medical supervision. They can do this. They are going into a phase called autophagy. So it's basically letting your body to eat into your own cell, those tabagus cell, like your cancer cell or not good things, eat away. So body will choose to eat things that are not useful or toxic to you. It's like a detox, eating your own cells. So this is not what we encourage. We only want you to look into 12-12 minimum. Anyone can do this. And also 16-8. So with this, right, you have to be a bit careful. This one, jangan main-main. Okay, now this is your rest and being active. So simple, 6 to 8 hours of sleep and 8,000 steps minimum, and sunlight, and let yourself do more of a mind wandering. Whatever you call it, basically just don't do too many things. Okay, you are super productive already. Okay, it's time to take a break. The word is do nothing. Do nothing. Let yourself do nothing for a while. Number 5 is very important. That's why Dr. Leslie is here. Is add in your probiotics here. Now, adding your probiotics is definitely your fiber, your veggie, and also the variety of fermented foods. But when it comes to fermented food, remember they are very smelly. So try to avoid the one that added with too much sugar or taste too good. Then you have to be careful. Number 6, right, is actually this. You are here today to learn, and then you should practice it, and then you should share. So at the end of the day, right, you are actually a teacher. You teach. So for Uncle Pang, for myself, for Ada, it's not uncommon for friends to come to you and ask you, what happened to you? Why you suddenly lost some weight? So when you start to teach, you start to say what I just mentioned to you, you become a teacher. Once you become a teacher, the stress is on you. Like macam if you start to eat rubbish, people say, hey, teacher, why you do that? Is this good? So you're giving some stress on yourself, then you can teach better. And when you start to talk, and you will start to figure out, am I right, am I wrong? You will start to go back and also to understand a bit more. The more you do that, right, the better you are. So you must teach. Don't just keep it to yourself. Now, we are going towards the end already. These are the 4 levels. Now, when it comes to reverse health, right, there are 4 levels. Okay, there are 4 levels. Just like those who are in online gaming, they are the level 1, 2, 3, 4, so they are different level. All of us here today, definitely after today, you are definitely level 1. We call it entry. Okay, it's an entry level. All of you, with whatever I share with you, I don't have to spend like so much time, the whole day. Just the 6 step, right? The validated 6 step. You just follow that. It's very easy. Anyone can do it. So it's an entry level. Number 2, it's actually advocate. You don't have a choice, advocate. You don't have a choice. People just come to you naturally. For Uncle Pang, people come and ask you. People come to Ada, ask you. People come to me, ask me what happened to me. So you start to advocate. You start to teach. So that's what I call advocate. Now, if you look at this, right, seriously, you start here. You start here, personal. Okay, then into okay, you start as your personal thing, personal journey. You start with that. And then slowly you start to influence your loved one, your family, your wife or your husband. So that's your community, your colleague, your supplier, your client. So personal to community. At this level, right, we call it out of love. With your loving heart. Okay. Moving forward, right, it's actually business. Okay, when it's on business side, talk about money. Money. Okay. Now, where is the money? The money is here. The food pyramid have lots of big company, big food company benefited from this. Okay, Gardenia sold out, betul kan? 99 Speed Mart, Gardenia always sold out. So there are a lot of money here, lots and lots of money here. And when you eat like this, every hour eating are lots of money, because you eat every hour. You see the Grab food driver, AirAsia pilot pun tak payah jadi pilot lah, jadi Grab food driver. So lots of money here. And then don't forget, this is the big money. All the private medical center, all the big pharmaceutical company produce so much of blood pressure pill, diabetes pill, cholesterol pill, cancer treatment, dementia, so much so, there are a lot of money here. So much of money here. And how many people are there out there is actually our target group. Is this much, So many sick people there. So this is also money. So the whole thing involved with lots of money. Okay, why low carbohydrate, healthy fat diet? Why intermittent fasting are not really being promoted, right? Think about it, right? If I ask you to fast, how the hell am I going to sell and make money out of you? You fast what? Do I sell water? There's nothing I can sell, If I'm able to reverse your diabetes, you don't have to take medication, You don't have to go to hospital, So that is a lot of money gone, So no one logically will want to promote and make you healthy, So this is wrong, Whatever I say just now is wrong. Looking at, say, Kajang Town, I come from Kajang. Kajang Town, right, used to have like 2-3 pharmacies. Nowadays, Kajang Town, by itself, I think it's not just Kajang. You go to anywhere, you can go to SS2, PJ, mana-mana you pergi kan. You see more pharmacy than the bank, The bank are like kecil, but the pharmacy is huge, So you can imagine there are so many sick people out there, and there's lots of opportunity over. So where is the money? The money is this. Well, health is equivalent to wealth. Okay, wealth is health. Health is wealth. If you don't have, you have all the money in the world, Stanley Ho, but he still want, if giving a choice, right, he want his health, So you know that people is willing to spend to get healthy. Okay, people are willing to spend. So from here, there are lots of money. Okay, now, so many of us, right, are getting sick. So they are looking for solution. they want solution. They want a solution. So if they want solution, we will say ReverseHealth. Whatever you have seen just now is actually the solution. So how do you make money out of this, right? I would say, right, you should do your own platform. You should have your own platform. Okay, now, for instance, for Puan Saleha also asked me, they produce tempeh chips, tempeh chips, right? How does it relate to this? When we break fast, right, you are still allowed for snacking, okay? To make a tempeh chips, right, is very difficult. It's hard work, okay? To make your tempeh chips sell more, you just put in more sugar. Naturally, people will find that's more tastier. But for them, they don't put in sugar. So our tempeh chips, they find it's more difficult to sell. But then again, this is actually an opportunity, if you want to have the best chips in the world, there's so many potato chips out there, you don't have to compete with them. Let them do it, okay? You should be doing what the people are looking for, the solution. So produce this kind of tempeh chips, okay? Now, we have Jess with us today. Jess is actually from Kindori Moment. She actually served you, I would say, the best, healthier choice of the cake and also ice cream that you can find. Okay. Now, together with Jess today, we will probably look into how can you make a cake that doesn't spike your insulin too much. Can you replace the flour with almond flour? Okay, this is something that you can consider. If you don't want to put in sugar, right? Can you put in a bit of like a monk fruit extract or stevia for that matter? So these are the things that you can think. For Ada is managing, Ada is a beautician. I call her a magician. She makes a lady beautiful, skin all radiance like her, okay? So she just started doing intermittent fasting for a couple of weeks or 2 weeks. How many kg you lost? 4 kg. So Ada should be here doing all the talking, not me. So she lost all the kg. Imagine her VIP client coming in. Unfortunately, she put on weight. Okay, so she come in and say, my face look like a biscuit. Can you help me to make it slim down so when I take a selfie, my face is V, like a KOL V, that face is V. But gosh, no matter how you rub, how you do, right, the face cannot turn V1, okay? But you can use beauty cam, you can turn V. So if Ada is able to share all this information, and if you have your own platform to do your academy, to teach them this, right, the client will definitely come back, to look for you. So this is actually virtually how we look at your little platform is going to play a role on this. Now, for nonosugar, what we do is this: we put together the client. We call them the consumer. Okay, we have Uncle Pang with us. We have Ada with us. We have so many of us here. We are the consumer. We put the consumer in the room. Okay, together with the researcher or the educator. So we have, Dr. Nash was trying to figure out why is he here today. Dr. Nash is here in the audience. He's in public health. He trains medical doctor, We have him here together with us. We have Dr. Leslie with us, who are very good in probiotic vaginal microbiome. So when we put consumer and a researcher and educator together, so you will know, you can check with us, you will know what we want, okay? We put the supplier, the manufacturer. I am a manufacturer. Encik asked me, Puan Saleha is a manufacturer. Jess is a manufacturer. So we put together, we can probably give you some food, Uncle Pang, to try. Almond flour cake, do you like it? Say, it tastes like shit, please change to walnut. So you put the manufacturer together. Now, what else is, you still need one very important thing, We call them the KOL. So we have our KOL with us today. We have V, we have Amelia, We also have Laura here today with us. Now, Dr. Nash and Leslie, Dr. Leslie, I want to ask you, your biggest audience lecture that you conduct is 50, 100, 200 students. How many? What is your biggest room? 100. Dr. Nash?
About 50.
50 to 100. Okay, 50 to 100. But are they, Laura, V, and also Emilia, with breast or without breast, punya posting, we are talking about thousands and thousands of followers, you know. Okay. 400K. Dr. Leslie and Dr. Nash, so tiring. 4 hours of talking. You need to reach out to these fine gentlemen and ladies here. But they can influence so many people in the society, especially the young one. Instead of the bloody bubble tea, can you share something else, like maybe our tempeh chips? So you need KOL in the equation, all right? So what we do here, we are going to do education, okay? Now, why Dr. Nash is here today, and Dr. Leslie for that matter, we wish to have an academy. Why do we need academy? Because in the audience today, we have pharmacists, we have dietitian, and we have doctor. Now, dietitian, I'm a pharmacist, so I can talk about pharmacists. Pharmacists, very difficult to convince one, you know, pharmacist. Doctor, lagi difficult. Ask Dr. Nash. Dietitian, no chance. Okay. So if you put them all together in the room, okay, listen to this. We do education, okay. If Jeff is the one do all the talking, boring. Yeah. So if you have Dr. Leslie talk about vagina, okay, we have someone talk about public health like Dr. Nash, right? So we can have an academy to train this group of healthcare professionals because they're gonna touch a lot of patients. And trust me, doctor or pharmacist or dietitian or nurses, right, they will also get sick. If they are so healthy, right, their loved one might also get sick, you know, okay? Bring them in to talk to them. So that's education and academy. Now, we are also advocating for this. I call it not one night stand. It's like one morning stand. One morning stand. So come here for the one night stand together to build the relationship, not just for one morning, but actually for longer term kind of relationship, okay? Talk to the consumer, talk to the KOL. There are certain things, because like the last week event, they say, engkau punya event ni bukan Instagramable. What the heck is Instagramable? Maksudnya, your lighting got problem bro, kan? You take that picture, face all gemong, tak cantik. So we need to talk to you like what you need, okay? For the manufacturer, like myself and Jess, when you cut down the almond, you know that's so challenging. You replace the almond with the normal flour. The cake and now Jess already sells so expensive, you know. With that almond flour cake, I think she probably will go for 500 ringgit. So can consumer accept this kind of money, this kind of product? So let's talk together. So the one morning stand to turn on for a longer relationship, okay? Come together here to bombard each other, to get some information, to get to know each other, and then to do some magic together. You create your own little platform. Come here to join our platform for the education. Send your team here, send your people here, and like next month, we are so excited. We will have a class just for KOL, all right? And next month, we also invite Dr. Nash to have a class, if possible, just for our Muslim Malay guests. So there will be no bak kut teh. And more importantly, is actually we can probably talk about Islamic fasting the right way. You know, Islamic fasting is very good, tapi there are certain things that we might not have done correctly. Okay, I'm not the best person to talk about it. We can talk to Jasmine, we can talk to Dr. Nash. Okay, so that is the use, make full use of NONO sugar. Now, number 4, I think is ecosystem. This kind of lifestyle, the things that we are doing, right, you need the whole thing to support. So I call this, right, from birth from birth, the pregnant mothers taken good care by O&G specialists. Okay. Now, for me and William, we service the O&G specialists. We know that the natural birth costs about 3,000 to 4,000 ringgit. But if it's C-section, it can go as high as about 10,000, 20,000 because you need longer stay in the hospital. So with the good ecosystem, right, we really hope that most people can go for natural birth if possible. Okay. Now, if you want to do a natural birth, right, you must talk to the vagina expert, Dr. Leslie. Now, Dr. Leslie will be able to tell you there are certain species, there are certain fungus in the vagina, probably it's not so good when the giant baby like Jeff, all the fungus go into your eyes, right? Probably that's not what you want for your baby, So together with, Dr. Leslie, perhaps I really hope that the doctor can push for natural birth. At the same time, maybe the mother should be screened for virus or certain not so good bacteria that can cause blindness, So we are talking about an ecosystem, start from the birth, right? And then moving on, I would say is education. So send your kids to private school or kindergarten, whatever school that you go to, right? They are like cow, grazing from morning to night, keep letting them eat and eat and eat lots of junk food. So education also need to be in here. Now, F&B is without question, so much that you can do. Jess can do so much on the F&B, and Ancha Asmi can do so much on the F&B. Now, after that, right, it's actually your entertainment and also your lifestyle. All your sports and everything comes in. And last but not least is RIP mati lah. So the whole ecosystem, right, need to be supported. Each one of us here, right, actually have a role to play. Each one of us actually have a role to play in this, from Dr. Nash to Dr. Leslie to Jess to me to you, and we are part of the ecosystem, and that's how we separate into 4 levels. Okay, very quickly we go to the very important thing for pharmacists. We must talk about this. There are 2 outcomes. Okay, so if you have learned all this and then balik rumah, you don't do anything, no outcome lah. You don't do anything lah. But if you really do it right, then you actually have to look into the good effect and also side effect, Now, Selton and myself, we will know when you receive a prescription from a doctor for, say, Madam Wong to start on insulin, okay? Wow, that would be a very long counseling section, right? So when we counsel Madam Wong, we have to teach her how to use the insulin, correctly, And then sure, Madam Wong is going to ask this, what side effect? Jeff, tell me what side effect. I say, if it's insulin, side effect is this. You will feel cold, sweaty, okay, hand shaking. That's probably your hypo, sugar level too low. So insulin, over inject. So what should I do? Madam Wong asked. So you should do this. Do you have Milo at home? Milo tak ada. Already give to neighbor. Milo is bad. Do you have sugar at home? No sugar. Sugar give to Mrs. Chan. Okay, because I'm diabetic. Do you have biscuit at home? I heard biscuit is bad. I give away all my biscuit. They say, no, it's okay. Now, you go to supermarket, Jaya Grocer, now you start to buy a biscuit with lots of sugar on top. Okay? Buy back your Milo, the kau-kau punya. Okay? And buy a bag of sugar at home. Okay? In case you have hypo, you should start to eat this and drink this. But don't worry, after a while, you will get better after the insulin injection. Okay, what is next? What else side effect you should let me know? I say, oh yeah, just that you know, you will probably put on weight for about 2 kilograms. Okay, what is the worst case? Maybe 5 to 10 kilograms. Okay, so this is what we do lah. A pharmacist, right, always tell you things come with side effect. Now, the side effect from here, you probably, the things like, another side effect, maybe if you go to Starbucks, now you see Uncle Pang staring out from Starbucks with the Americano there, he start to wonder. Don't disturb him. That's normal. His mind is wandering. Okay. Now here, seriously, you would slim down. slim. Maksudnya you lost fat lah. So, side effect is invest a lot of money, buy clothing. Jangan too happy. Each one satu color, each color one size. Semua beli, jangan. So you start to spend money on your clothing. Okay. On a more serious note, it's actually your blood glucose. Now, your blood sugar will probably drop. If you are diabetic, you are taking medication, you have to be careful. Your blood glucose might probably drop. So you must adjust your medication. Okay. You must talk to your doctor and work together with your pharmacist to adjust your dosing. Okay. Same go for your blood pressure. So again, adjust your medication. Your doctor and your pharmacist must be notified. Don't do it by yourself. Okay, so it's blood glucose, blood pressure. Okay, now your sleep probably less and you are too energetic. Because if you lose so much of body fat and then your weight's back to normal, you suddenly like very energetic, So you find very difficult to get to sleep. So you should look at your coffee, reduce your coffee, your tea, kan? And also if you smoke, be careful of cigarette smoking, and also your drinks. So these are the common sense. Now, ini constipation. Ada share with me on constipation as well. Maksudnya your stool berak sudah kurang. So berak kurang because you eat less. This is normal. So what you should do, you should have water. You should have plenty of fiber, your veggie. Kan? And today on your goodie bags, we give you banana. Banana is a fiber. We also give you a symbiotic. Symbiotic is a probiotics. So if you take some more fiber and some symbiotic, it should help you to do with your constipation issue. Now, hunger. For myself and Uncle Pang, when we first started, Uncle Pang also feel, hunger, the stomach acid, the acid feeling. Because if you normally have your breakfast at 7:30, by 7 a.m., your body already waken up and also it start to produce some acid for the digestion. So it's like a normal physiological thing, So if this happened to you, because your body are not used to it yet, okay, so you should drink more water, take more veggie. We also given you banana and symbiotic. All this will help with your stomach acid. Yeah. Now, this one, a lot of people didn't realize, probably happened to Ada as well, is frequent urination. Maksudnya you pee a lot. You start to pee a lot. Now, we have been blaming probably the wrong things. We say the salt. The salt is the one who raises people's blood pressure. So if you have high blood pressure, right, guarantee the first thing you do is to cut your salt intake. But the latest finding, or the finding physiologically, right, this is something that we already know. When you are taking too much of sugar, carbohydrate, is where your insulin will actually raise. So when you actually raise the insulin, right, the body will actually go to the kidney to retain your salt, the sodium. So when you retain the sodium, right, that's where you raise your blood pressure. So we have been blaming the salt is a culprit, right? But actually, it's the other way around. It's the sugar and the carbohydrate that raise your blood pressure, okay? So when you start intermittent fasting or you start low carb diet, right, you will realize that you pee a lot. You go to the washroom, you pee a lot because your insulin level drops so low, and then your kidney will start to let go of all the sodium. When the sodium let go, right, the water go out together. So people who are on intermittent fasting, right, they will start to have their blood pressure drop, without taking any medication to reverse the blood pressure. So this is, I can call it side effect, but I probably call it a good effect. Now that you have to take Encik Asmi punya tempeh chips with salt, add back your salt. Jangan ketekut on salt. You probably need to take some salt. And also, there's one thing very important. It's called magnesium. So any pharmacy that you walk in, they have magnesium. You should take more magnesium. Okay. Now, muscle. sore. Now, you probably worry about you'll be losing out some muscle, okay? Because you are intermittent fasting, your diet maybe are not sufficient, you're worried. Then you should increase your protein. Again, on your goodie bags, we give you muscle up. Muscle up is actually a pre-digested protein, so your body can absorb it very fast and very well. So it goes straight to your muscle, or help to preserve your muscle. Now, cold. So V and Amelia and Laura is feeling cold now because skip breakfast, dah jadi. So you're feeling cold, right? What you should do is actually your sun, free ma. But today no sun, too bad. So sun, and then you should keep yourself warm, you know. Warm food, warm drink would definitely help. And if you have curcumin, kunyit, if you have kunyit, right, take some kunyit, will help to speed up your metabolism. It should keep you warm. And last, is something that we actually have to be careful for Dr. Leslie, for Dr. Nash, pharmacist and dietitian, right? It's something that we quite worry. It's called the refeeding syndrome. So refeeding syndrome is for those people who probably have a bit of like, their eating habits, or they have some eating disorder, okay? So this group of patients, jangan main-main, anorexia or bulimia, you better refer to the proper doctor to handle, or dietitian or pharmacist to handle, because they are different, okay? So this one you actually have to be careful. So if a doctor is handling, or the pharmacist or dietitian is handling refeeding syndrome, you make sure they are well hydrated. You need a lot of water, okay? The salt must be sufficient, your salt, your magnesium, okay? You should give them more protein, and so on and so forth. So refeeding syndrome is something that the healthcare professional have to be careful with. So these are the two outcomes, the good effect and the bad effect. We finally come to almost the end, but I just want to share a story with you. Few years back, 3 years back, I have this Myanmar and Nepalese coming in. Our factory is expanding, so we bring in the Myanmar, we bring in the Nepalese, 5 each, ngam. It's the best clinical trial I can have, 5. Okay, they comes in on the same week. Across the board, right, they are skinny, they are dark, plus they are smelly. Have been stuck in KLIA for many days. Baru keluar, so they are smelly. So these are the Myanmar and these are the Nepalese, right? They start with that. After 3 years, we are so shocked to realize, because our company start to enforce our KPI. Our KPI is this: if you are overweight, you must lose weight. Okay, so we start to measure them. So come to our surprise, right? Now, the 5 Nepalese semua put on weight. Okay, the 5 Myanmar, 1 out of 5, right, put on weight. Okay, obese, overweight and obese. So there are 6 of them. So I start to dwell a little bit into their diet. Come to my surprise, these people, the Nepalese punya diet, if you have Nepalese friends and also colleagues, this is how they eat, 1 Tupperware of rice, 1 Tupperware of dal. It's all the lentil, the dal, together they eat for their lunch. That will fill them up until their dinner. So they finish this. When you look at the Myanmar colleague, right, shocking, they have less rice, and they have this thing called lafette. I try to taste it. What is lafette? Then they are using the tea leaf, green tea leaf, and then let it ferment for 3 to 4 months. And then they take the green tea leaf together with garlic and tomato and kekacang. Kekacang and then some fish. They make a dish out of it, right? Now, when I look at their belacan, Myanmar version of belacan, if you look at their process, you'll faint, It's a dry stream, go through the process for a couple of months, becomes so smelly. So all these are fermented food, okay? Now, Myanmar also eat one thing. They eat a bit more of the meat, okay? They eat beef, like dry beef jerky. They do a lot of this. So I can see from their diet, right, they can tahan with less rice, more meat, so they can take this and they feel very full and they still can do hard work, you know. But the Nepalese, on the other hand, right, they put on weight, and two of them actually developed blood pressure. Imagine skinny, after 3 years, two of them developed high blood pressure. Sini sakit, sana sakit, gigi sakit, gastric, and then their absentees are very high. Okay, now we can probably say it's fermented food and this and that. And then one thing that I realized, the Nepalese is not because they don't want to eat meat, you know. Okay, there are a few problems with the Nepalese. Okay, they are very divided. Some of them don't eat pork. Okay, some of them don't eat beef. Okay, mutton is too expensive, so they end up with just chicken. Okay, and chicken pun mahal juga. Okay, all of the 5 Nepalese are married. They are married, so they always send home all their pocket money, you know, to the family and to the wife. So this is actually their lifestyle, and then they are ketekut not because they don't want to eat the chicken, because they want to save some money. Okay, now I found out the Myanmar that put on weight also are married. So he sent all his money back to his kampong. So on this, right, the summary I want to draw from this is this. First, it seems that the fermented food is doing some good. Okay. Number 2, if you want to cut down on carbohydrate, right, probably you need to increase not just the vegetable, but you need to take a bit more of the meat, right? It make you feeling, right? Number 3, right, don't get married. Number 3 is actually for healthcare professional, pharmacist, doctor, and the like, and dietitian. So when we look at the surface, right, it's probably this, you know. If you dwell in a bit deep down, the root cause probably is beyond. It's not just about their ketekut, you know. There's a reason. Now, the Nepalese actually gone back to Nepal, and recently they reapply again. They want to come back because the boss is good, they come back. So when they show me their picture, the Nepalese picture, they are so skinny and dry, you know, so skinny and dry. And then I realized probably they are doing that on purpose, you know. They want to keep themselves blown out, and then so they go back to their kampong, they can survive the winter, and then they come back to Malaysia. You know, this is part of their survival tactic. So that's why I want to blow out themselves. Now, so coming back to the final things, right, we call it objective. So there's one objective for today. For us, in the NONO sugar, okay, is this. Now, we have been carrying lots of fats and this energy with us, okay? But you just can't access to the fat and the energy, okay? Looking at Jeff, right, wearing like this, is make you feel very uncomfortable, you know? So that's how you look at this. Some of us carry the fat at the back, okay? Some of us carry at the front. The back is actually at the front, okay? Some of us, just now when I discussed with Ada, could be toffee. Toffee carry the fats inside the organ. Jangan be happy. That's actually the worst thing. That's the worst part, is to carry the fat inside the organs, right? So that's toffee. So this is what happening to us right now. So our objective is very clear. We want you to learn the tactic of reverse health to easily, jangan struggle, easily, okay, melt down, okay. $1,000 grams of fat, okay, melt down 1,000 grams of fat. Okay, for Uncle Ben, he probably have more than 1,000 grams to melt down, so probably you can add one more zero here. But for people like Ada or V, janganlah melt down further. You probably have to cut down 100. Just the internal organ fat is good enough, you know. What do you do with all this fat? All this fat, right? We have created a tabung, bukan tabung Fuji, Haji, ini is tabung fat, okay? Okay, every time you step on your wings body composition that we will give one to you, every time you step on it every morning, so all your fat that we want you to donate, and at the back end, right, we will collect all this data and we will keep all this fat together, Oh, like macam ni lah. You remove your fat and donate to NONO sugar. So that's what you do, or stepping on the body composition weighing scale every morning. We come to the end of today. Let me sum up what have happened for the past 3 hours. Now, you came in with this knowledge. High carb. You came in with high carb, calorie counting, and low fat. Okay, we make to believe to eat less food. Okay, and also with this, right, you need very strong willpower. Very strong willpower. Okay, and we are on the current medicine. Okay, now you are supposed to do with your willpower, eat lesser, you must do exercise. Okay, and then you should sleep well. Okay, right at the middle, right, is actually your gene. You don't have a choice. If you are born with this gene, then you're diabetic, then you will become diabetic. Go and see your doctor. So this, we call it the conventional health care. Now, we have introduced to you a different concept. We call it the reverse. The high carb turn into low carb. Or high carb is low carb. Okay, you eat less food, right? Jangan lah, you just eat less frequent. That's where your intermittent fasting comes in. Okay, your willpower, you can tahan 6 months the most, or 6 years. Okay, you probably should do sustainable thing. It must be sustainable. No matter it's exercise or how you eat, right? It must be sustainable. Okay. Last but not least, current medicine, right? It should be future medicine. These are the doctor, the pharmacists, the nurses who know a bit more about low carb lifestyle. So this we call future medicine. Now, here, instead of exercise, right? Actually, you're being active for a living, you know. You not exercise to die. Now, sleep, right, is not sufficient. It should be more rest. That means like Uncle Pang mind wandering. Right at the middle is actually your microbiome, your probiotic. Together with this, right, we introduce to you, we call this the reverse health. Some of us have disease like diabetes, all right? So that's reverse the disease. But some of us are actually relatively healthy. So we just say reverse health, to the best health possible for you to achieve the things that you want. The most in life is actually longevity. Okay, together with quality of life. So this, in the nutshell, is what we have been through for the past 3 hours. Okay, with all this, we are very proud to say, in Malaysia, we're trying to see around whether there's any model, anyone who managed to do all this. And we came across Tan Sri Augustine Ong. So he had been practicing intermittent fasting, and also he's actually the father of palm oil, and is a father figure in many Malaysian scientists. So he lived, now he's actually 87 years old. He's still very strong, very fit. So we invited him to do a closing remarks for today. Eric.